Paper Flowers, Chapter 19. Milestone. Virgil was hanging out in the common space, which wasn't a big deal, okay? Just because he hadn't been here without Roman present unless explicitly summoned since the whole fallout. Thomas was about to check his mail, which meant he was going to be a nuisance to everyone soon anyway. Checking mail always held the possibility of things. News and invitations and reminders and just all kinds of unpleasantness. There was bound to be something he'd have to argue with the others over. Might as well already be here. This time, however, the reminder that did come up was a confirmation of the air date of that episode they did like 6 months ago. Hey, wait! Oh, he and Prinxiety had become friends a year ago. He should do something nice for him, maybe. At least think about it. Scratch that, he had thought about it. Obsessively so on and off for the past 3 months. He had an idea. Oh, the episode is airing soon. It's so exciting! Isn't it exciting, Anxiety? Patton gushed right behind him. Big mistake. Virgil jumped away and hissed at the stunned older side. What has you so cut it today, Anxiety? Roman asked as he entered the common area, eyes observing the situation with care. Girls here has no concept of personal space. That's what, Virgil hissed. Patton pouted. I'm sorry I startled you, kiddo, but there's no need for the mean face, he pointed out. Roman bit his lip, looking for the right way to diffuse the situation. But then Logan walked in and did it for him. Ah, the episode is coming up. I presume we shall make a formal announcement of the air date, he stated. That got Roman's full and undivided attention. It is! Oh my god, okay! We can do an episode of Thundersize about it, Roman suggested. I suppose it could have amusing elements to it, especially considering the previous one, Logan allowed. Virgil found himself relaxing slowly. He dug his hands into his hoodie pockets. There were holes in both, so he could reach into his jeans pockets, to which he'd summoned some threads which he started to weave into something passable. No way he'd come up with something that could beat out whatever Roman had planned, so he might as well go for something simple but thoughtful or whatever. Guess that makes sense, he allowed. Yes, we can refer back to that one, and we can talk about all the fun we had experiencing the life of a Disney star, if only for a little while, Roman gushed. Virgil felt the train of thought tug at the corners of his mouth and stir in his stomach. He'd have to leave soon. Oh, just think how far we've come, Patton gushed. Ooh, we could make some references to our vines, Roman exclaimed. And address the clickbait nonsense going on YouTube, Logan nodded. Virgil felt excitement retreat a bit as he thought of the challenges of being appealing on a new platform. Having a party without me? I'm crushed, Janice drawled, leaning on the door frame. Everyone tensed, remembering quite clearly the havoc this site wrought last time he showed his face here. We're talking videos and upcoming launch dates, Dee. You're not needed here, Virgil pointed out. Aren't I? I was expecting to discuss with our dear Morality how much Thomas should downplay how proud he is of his accomplishments. Modesty is a virtue after all, he drawled. Patton shrunk in on himself, in a way that triggered Virgil's protect function. It's going to be a sides thing. He can show his excitement and stuff through Princey. We'll be fine, he hissed. The seat recoiled a little, clearly struggling not to show the full extent of how that stung to the others. Although, I do have a few fun ideas on how we could do the clickbait commentary that are a bit misleading, Roman smiled secretively. I must go and write this down. Anxiety, I'll run the script by you soon. And then he was gone. Janice huffed and left the room as well. Great. That would end with a pleasant visit. Guess I'll be in my room, he sighed as he got up and started to leave. He needed to add a little something to the bracelet he'd been making in his hoodie to make it perfect. Or, well, as perfect as he could make it. Prince would appreciate the idea more than the gift itself. He always did. With that comforting thought, he started to make his way to his room with just a tad more confidence than before. Anxiety? Patton called out as Virgil passed him. Virgil froze in place and looked back, his fists clenched. Was he going to finish the lecture that got interrupted? Thanks for standing up for me, Patton said instead. What? Um, no problem. I just don't like it when he stirs the pot just for fun like that, Virgil shrugged. Still, thanks, Patton insisted. Virgil didn't know what to do except nod in acknowledgement and go. That was weird. He finished off the friendship bracelet of red and purple twine with a silver and gold star-shaped flower at the center. Satisfied with the result, he went into the meadow. He didn't want to be caught outside with the bracelet. To his surprise, Woman's door was open. Huh. Woman was nowhere inside. Virgil moved towards it, debating between knocking and letting himself in, and closing it softly so Woman could finish up whatever he had in him turn away from it without fully closing. When he got there, he caught a few words that had him pause. I am not letting you goad me into anything, Deceit. Anxiety gets to make his own pace, and that's that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an episode to write. And then the door slammed shut. What was that about? He asked tentatively as he pushed the door open, making the prince jump in shock. Virgil, you scared me half to death, Roman reprimanded. Virgil couldn't help the slight smirk. That is what I do, Highness, he pointed out. Roman nodded, still holding a hand to his chest. Right. Well, to answer your question, the state accused me of ulterior motives with my last suggestion. You know, something playfully misleading. He wasn't clear on whether I was trying to appease you or him, but I wasn't taking the bait because if we got in an argument over this in the hallway, the others might hear something that revealed more than we are ready to share, Roman explained. Virgil bit his lip. He was the one hoarding their friendship like a forbidden treasure. And that was a very princely metaphor. They might be hanging out too much. So he caught that and decided to try and grill me on how close we really were if we were keeping our friendship a secret, implying I was ashamed of you, Roman scoffed. Virgil was a little happy to hear how offended the mere suggestion seemed to have been to him. That was nice. When that didn't get the reaction he wanted, he suggested you didn't trust me or were ashamed of me, and that if you weren't, I'd been told your name by now. Not in those words, but that's the gist. I told him to mind his own business, and as I'm sure you've heard, and slammed the door. The woman took a deep breath. That being said, what did you hear? Virgil smirked. Literally just you telling Janice that you respect my boundaries and to let you work. I want to believe Dee was mostly pissed about me sort of defending Patton and took it out on you since he didn't want to get into an argument with me right after we fixed things. He still shouldn't have acted that way, though. I'm sorry, he told his friends. Roman shrugged, clearly still a little wound up from the encounter. Dude hadn't even been able to really let off steam because he was so busy not causing a public scene for Virgil's sake. Well, maybe. Hey, how do you feel about sparring for a bit? He suggested. Roman perked up, eyes gleaming with interest. Virgil couldn't help but laugh. Not a typically 1 year friendship anniversary activity, I suppose, Virgil added, as he showed Roman the bracelets, prompting the prince to gasp and rush forward to take one and study it in awe. But it's us, so a fight makes perfect sense, I guess. The anxious side said casually, though he was dying on the inside. Virgil, I love it! The idea and the gift. I would like to give you mine before we start, Woman offered gently. Virgil nodded. The prince put on his own bracelet, with well-practiced move that only a fictional character could pull off, and walked to his vanity desk and opened the definitely new drawer under the one holding Roman's crown. Virgil watched him reach inside as he put on his bracelet much less elegantly. He took out a square box and brought it back to Virgil. You gotta let me explain before you laugh, he warned, as he opened the fancy black box and revealed a silver thorny-looking crown. Not thorny as it looked painful to put on, though. More naturally spiky for effect. It comes with a costume change, like mine. And I went with black and purple because, well, that's what you like. And that reminded me of Maleficent, so I designed the crown to be like woven brambles, but meaner. But if you take a look, Woman lifted the crown a little to show its shimmer in the light. Then you see that every set of spikes has a crystal at its center, so they look like stars. Virgil nodded as he picked up the crown and carefully put it on. Woman grinned and took a step back to study him. Well, how do I look? Virgil asked tensely. Woman smiled knowingly, and, with slow movements so Virgil wouldn't get startled, he turned him around. Awesome, Woman stated, as he turned him to a mirror. The crown was shimmering, but also looked kinda cool. His outfit looked like Woman's crown outfit, but purple where his was red, silver where his was gold, and black where his was white. Suddenly, Woman stood next to him in his crown too. Now you're ready for battle. Come on, let's go, amigo. It felt like hours had passed by the time they fell down in the field, exhausted but content. We still have an episode to write, Virgil stated. Woman huffed. Disney movie after? You get first pick, the darkest side suggested. Woman sighed. Fine, he allowed, with a pout as he let Virgil drag him to his room and his desk. An hour or so in, they had some decent jokes and had agreed to make this the last appearance of zany logic. As fun as it had been, it was time to let the Vine characters rest with Vine and the sides be their own thing. Remember when we got the news? Roman asked suddenly. Virgil chuckled. When we both freaked out for hours and I had to sit in a dark corner for a few more to get the good, the bad, and the ugly out of my system? Yeah, he grinned. Will we ever feel like that again? Oh boy. Hey, well, stop stealing my shtick, okay? Virgil tried his joke. Roman seemed serious, though. Virgil swallowed. This was so not his thing. I don't know, woman, but I'll try my best to push Thomas so we can have that again. We all will. We got something awesome going here, Ro. This community we built. I don't know what we can do in the future. Just trying to think that far ahead makes me terrified. But where we are, we have some pretty cool opportunities already. And I don't mean collabs and guest roles. I mean being a good thing for our audience. Woman looked up at his friend, hope and fondness shining in his eyes. That is so going into your dialogue, you know that, right? He grinned when Virgil finished. That got him a hit on the back of the head. Idiot, Virgil huffed. I deserved that, Woman allowed. Seriously, though, thank you. I needed to hear that, Woman smiled, before getting back to work. Virgil didn't comment on it and just focused on getting through this and relaxing later, deciding to leave his own worries and insecurities be for now. You got a notification between classes, so you saved the video in your watch later list where it said waiting for you to open when you fell into your bed once your homework was done. Sender sites, here we go. You hadn't read the title earlier. Doing so now had you shoot up in shock. What? Thomas went through his greeting and it all sounded great, but what? Finally, he got to the reason for the video. And Prince echoed your feelings on the matter, it would seem. Anxiety had a point, though. He had to have known. Still, excited Prince is adorable. Morality scolded anxiety, being very supportive of Prince's feelings, sure, but it still felt a little demeaning how he spoke to him. To both. To pretty much everyone. Huh. Note taking would have to wait for the second watch too, though. There are a few things you want to dissect on the second watch. Anxiety's expression when he says he's not like Prince in his love for Disney, by example. might tell you more about him. Also, Morality's attention span is not that stellar. Logic popping up and getting way too giddy to use strategies like clickbait titles. Just awesome. And Prince and Anxiety supporting the storytime thing? It would have tickled the nostalgia bone. But Thomas is getting overwhelmed with all the very weird suggestions and finally called for order with the promise of an appealing title. Well, that's when he came through on. Finally, the poor man got to start on the story he wanted to tell. And man, all this was during the whole Ultimate Storytime tour? Well, all the fine and storytime shenanigans made more sense now. But hearing all that went into the show that you managed to go see, yeah, his anxiety would be working overtime. Yikes. It's clear the whole experience had left a big impression, though. Philosophical Thomas kinda makes an appearance. And Princey is losing it. Thomas went on to go through the insane process of filming one single episode. It sounded insane. It's nice to hear that he had a good time, though, and that Princey got a hold of himself. And just like that, the sides take their leave, suggesting very weird but kinda in character life goals. Until Anxiety. Dude was deep and insightful. Damn. You might have to watch this as episodes just to see Thomas live his dream. It's in a few days. You giggle through the end card and then open up Tumblr to write down your first thoughts. This episode was a fond adieu to Vine, as well as a glimpse into Thomas's life as a creator. Satisfied with his first thought, you get through a few more videos on your watch later list to let the episode settle before going through it with a fine-tooth comb for more detailed thoughts.